Something truly special is happening right now in Destiny. Bungie is actually paying attention to PvP for once. And I don't mean small changes, but real active development for the player experience in the Crucible. New maps, new game modes, big changes to player health and weapon damage, but over the last few weeks they've been obsessing over one thing in particular. Special ammo. So many changes have been made that it's hard to keep track of what's happening. It's becoming confusing and disruptive to the PvP experience at a very important moment for the game where the active player base is recovering and we actually have some momentum going into the final shape. Which is why today I want to break it all down for you, talk about the many changes that have happened over the last 2 months, how they've impacted the PvP experience, and what I think needs to happen in order for the special ammo problem to actually be solved. And lock in, boys, because we're going deep on this one. Now, the special ammo problem, while a simple concept on the surface, is a very complex issue given the vast amount of options we have at our disposal in the massive PvP sandbox of Destiny. Balancing in general is not easy, and I don't mean to portray it as such in this video. It's especially tricky given the second and third order effects that come from the direct changes made to weapon balancing or ammo economy. I think Bungie said it best when they explained what they were trying to solve with the first round of these special ammo changes that brought the ammo meter system on March 5th in the 7.3.5 update. As we've increased the strength and prevalence of certain sandbox elements, too often the defeated player in PvP can't understand what killed them or why. We don't want players in situations where it's difficult to learn what to do better next time. Now, they're referring to many gameplay elements in that quote, but it specifically hits home in the context of special ammo. The core symptom of the special ammo problem is dying so fast that you can't understand what's happening or how you could have done anything to avoid it. That's obviously not a fun experience, but how do you actually fix the issue? What's the root of it? Well, based on the many changes over the last few months, Bungie seems to think it's an issue of ammo economy. I don't think this will completely solve the problem, though I'll speak on that more later in the video. And while this isn't the first time we've seen Bungie tinkering with the special ammo economy in PvP, this is the very first time we've seen them use first principles thinking in their approach towards a solution. All of the changes to special ammo before this brand new special ammo meter system we received in March were very surface level in their approach. Basically, they just experimented with the amount of special ammo dropped on death and never really touched the core system of how special ammo was rewarded or distributed. And while the ammo meter system seemingly solved the various types of cheesy special weapon strategies like double grenade launchers and other hot swapping, it didn't solve the problem of the sheer volume of special weapons, especially later into a match. To quote Bungie directly from the TWAB on May 2nd, in the meter system, high-performing players are earning special ammo at 3.5 times the rate of lower-performing players, a delta which has led to many non-high-performing players abandoning special weapons entirely. So it's not only an issue of the amount of special ammo, but a situation where the rich get richer, and a harsh negative impact to the experience of players that are on the lower end of the skill bracket. You know, I think this speaks to all of the comments and tweets I've read from people upset about the changes and how we're back to year one Crucible again. If the majority of players aren't getting much special ammo from the meter system, then of course they're going to swap to double primary. That's only rational. So I can see why they might think it's like year one again, even though our sandbox is nowhere near what it was back then. I think the saddest part is that the experience for a typical player has really become the worst of both worlds. Most gunfights are a death ball of enemies team shooting with primaries because most of the lobby doesn't have special ammo. But then there's still high-skill players rolling through their lobbies with even more special ammo than they had before the changes. It sounds horribly frustrating, especially if you're new to the game and you're still working hard to build up your skills and a collection of PvP weapons. I can understand how it would be hard for new players to have fun and even start to get hooked on PvP in that type of an environment. And while these issues with the meter system were going on, Bungie decided to go further and experiment with special ammo boxes in comparison competitive and trials. Neither went well at all, and both exposed issues with the special ammo sandbox that extend beyond ammo economy, and also showed problems with core elements of the Crucible, like matchmaking, lobby balancing, respawn locations, and really just the balance of special weapons themselves. I'll talk about the more simple change first, with the ammo boxes and trials. Thankfully, these were a very temporary test, limited to 2 weeks. The first was the weekend of April 12th on Burnout, and this was the worst of the two, because there were 4 special boxes available each round, 2 for each team, rewarding 2 kills worth of special from each. The following weekend had half the boxes and was much more tame in comparison. But as you might guess, that first weekend was a total mess. If you played then you know what I'm talking about. It was horrible. The meta that emerged was Forerunner, paired with an auto rifle for close ranges. You also had the usual suspects, bum rushing you with Conditional Finality and Igneous Hammer, this time with double the special ammo. And speaking of double special, people rocked that too. There was so much ammo, you could get away with pairing Forerunner and a fusion rifle or a shotgun, no problem. There were also teams of triple Telesto, just covering every angle you played with those sticky little purple balls of death. And the worst thing I experienced was a team rocking triple Izanagi, getting 4 times honed edge and insta-killing you with a body shot. That was ass. I never want to experience that again. I really don't understand what Bungie was looking to learn out of these tests. The ammo boxes didn't create engagement opportunities at all. One was right at your spawn, and the other 2 were at opposite ends of the map from each other, so you didn't need to fight over ammo at all. What happened is everyone ran around the map for the first 30 seconds at the start of each round, maxing out their special ammo, and then all hell broke loose over the capture point. It was just a rough weekend and not indicative of what the Trials of Osiris experience should be. What would have been better is if the ammo boxes were in one central location, so everyone had the fight over it Hunger Games style. It would have been much more exciting, there would have been action immediately, and people would have actually used their primaries. Instead, we got the same system we had before all these changes, free ammo each round, except this time with extra steps, quite literally. Now, you would think that bad of an experience would be hard to beat, but somehow the special ammo boxes and comp were even worse. Those changes were announced in the April 4th TWAB and went into effect the following week. What made it so rough were the added factors of the still pretty messed up respawn system and the awful matchmaking and lobby balancing. Basically, almost every match resulted in one of the teams getting to the special boxes first, they'd push the other team wipe with said special, and then control the ammo boxes while holding them in a spawn trap until Shax called it. Every game was either snowballing or getting snowballed. There was really no way to fight back once you lost your special, and if you did manage to get a kill against those odds, revives were enabled and the other 2 enemies would pick up the guy you just killed with no issue because they had map control and near endless special ammo. It just wasn't fun at all. It felt like there was nothing you could do to change the outcome of a match, and it resulted in me personally playing the bare minimum to get my rose drops for the week, and then I was out of there. Now, I don't think this bad experience was a result of the special boxes alone, but how they brought out the worst aspects of our current lobby balancing and respawn systems. You would think that the spawns would flip very quickly in a 3v3 mode, but they just wouldn't. I could go 2 or 3 deaths in a spawn trap no problem, and when it finally did flip my spawn, I just wouldn't be with my team. We would all be in different areas of the map, and again, there just wasn't any hope of recovering. And the same was true when I was on the winning team. It was either farm or get farmed. You know, lobby balancing in general has been a real issue since skill-based matchmaking went into effect around the Witch Queen expansion, but something about dealing with special ammo snowballing made it feel so much worse. I don't think I saw more shit-talking and bickering in the team chat than when those special boxes came into play. Now, Bungie has loosely talked about how they hope to fix lobby balancing with a snake draft system, but there haven't been any specifics or details on how it will work. At this point, we've seen no updates in that area of the game, and unfortunately, it's looking like it won't happen until sometime after the final shape drops. Now, since the initial special ammo box implementation and comp, there have been 2 more small tweaks. Primary kills always drop 1 kill worth of special, and the spawns have been adjusted so you come back in closer to your team. They've helped a bit, but the snowballing issues are still very, very apparent. So, at this point, Bungie is 0 for 3 in most people's people's eyes when it comes to the new special ammo systems. I personally liked the meter system for the most part, but there were some problems with it, mostly from ability kills granting special. Bungie also thought it needed some tweaking too, and so on April 30th they made some pretty significant changes to the system by standardizing the points awarded to charge the meter for respawn-based modes and elimination modes respectively. They also reduced the amount of special ammo you start the game with and receive from a transmat down to just 1 kill worth. You also charge the meter a little more than twice as fast as before, and finally, they made it so ability kills don't contribute to the meter. So ultimately a smoother, more regulated approach to rewarding special ammo, and all good adjustments, I think. Now, these changes helped mitigate the runaway train situation that was developing from the original version of the meter system, but it wasn't a complete solution. And Bungie made that very clear just 2 days later when they announced in the TWAB on May 2nd that there would be yet another new special ammo system coming to the Crucible. The 111 system. The 111 system combines all aspects of the various special ammo systems Bungie has been experimenting with over the last 2 months. You get 1 kill worth on respawn, 1 kill worth for a primary kill, and 1 kill worth for opening a box. Your surplus of ammo goes away on death. Now this system is yet again not permanent. It's only a stopgap while they develop a new purpose-built special meter system. The one we've currently been playing with is a Frankenstein of various tech developed for PvE content that has been jerry-rigged together to work in PvP. I should also note that the blended 111 system will not go live until sometime after the final shape launches. Okay. I've really got a mixed bag of thoughts and emotions about all of this, so I'm going to do my best to lay out my opinion on this in a concise and productive way. There has to be more stability to the way Bungie conducts their changes and development for the special ammo system and other big systems changes in PvP going forward. What we've seen over the last 2 months is near impossible to keep track of. I felt like I was writing a college research paper the way I had to cross-reference all of the different TWABs and patch notes just to make sure I crossed my T's and dotted my I's while putting together this video. If you think the common PvP player has any idea what's going on, you're insane. I spend about 3/4 of my time playing Destiny in PvP. I read all of the TWABs, all of the changelogs, and even still it was hard for me to actually process and understand all of the implications of these changes between the written updates and my actual experience in the game. I think the only reason why this pattern of very rapid development and testing has been okay with the majority of the player base is because PvP players have been neglected for so long, they're desperate for any form of attention from the devs at this point. And I get it, I'm that desperate, needy PvP hoe with daddy issues too. I'm not bagging on actual, real development for the PvP experience. I'm actually beyond elated that we're finally getting attention, and I hope that there will always be a full-time dev team actively creating new experiences and maintaining the state of PvP going forward. But it can't be in this rapid, disorienting manner. We need to get past this awkward phase of rapid iteration as soon as possible if we want the PvP player base to grow. It's not a good look for any PvP game to be in a chronic state of repair. People don't feel confident and won't buy into an experience if they don't know what's going on or if they think that something is always broken or not working as intended. What we need are systems that are designed and well tested, that just work. When you load into a match, things should just work and make sense. I'm not saying that the game won't need maintenance or minor tweaks and balancing as new weapons, abilities, modes, and maps get added to the game. Of course that's necessary. This is a complex game. But if a new or returning player has a confusing, inconsistent, and frustrating experience, they're not sticking around. And I'm not saying that we need to cater to new players and water down the game design to the lowest common denominator. It should be complex and hard to master, yet readable and easy to understand. And more importantly, easy to get hooked on. If we don't have buy-in from both sides of that coin, we don't have anyone to play PvP with. That's just how it works. Now, as far as the actual special ammo problem, to me, it's a combination of the amount of special ammo on spawn, the amount of special ammo that can be easily accessed in one life, and the special weapon balancing itself, mostly focusing on how easy it is to get a one-hit kill on another player. More simply put, if there is a special ammo economy where you can consistently access 2 or 3 kills worth of special every single life, and we continue to have the current special weapon balancing, there will continue to be a special ammo problem. It's the economy and the weapon tuning contributing together to the bad experience of dying so fast you have no way to read the situation and understand what you did wrong. What I liked about the meter system is that the consistency of special ammo was regulated down to a low level, but you could still earn enough to have fun. Well, if you knew how to use a primary, that is, then you could earn enough special to have fun. So people didn't try to build for a cheesy setup that insta-killed. Now, it wasn't perfect. You still have the Heinras of the world flying around the map on Strand, hot-swapping bows and glaives, blowing up tangles, killing you in such a fast manner that you have no idea what happened or how to fight back. But by and large, it stopped a lot of the unreadable, cheesy metas from being viable. What I'm worried about with this 1-1-1 system is that we will have a special ammo economy that is too rich and consistent, and the cheesy hot swap metas will come back. I hope that's not the case, but it will be a disaster for PvP if that's how the experience is in the first few months of the final shape while we're waiting for that new purpose-built meter system to come back into the game. The other edge of that sword is special weapon balancing. Right now, we have a shotgun that has eclipsed the power of the most dominant defensive supers in the game. Wells and bubbles mean absolutely nothing to a Guardian equipped with conditional finality. This gun is so broken. It has consistently topped the usage charts of trials with very few exceptions. It's so easy to use. It's everywhere, all the time, and everyone is just sick and tired of it at this point. Conditional needs a nerf before we can really even understand the state of the rest of the special weapons in the game. We need each archetype of special weapons to be powerful in their effective ranges, not shotguns over everything else. What scares me the most about the state of PvP going into the final shape is that we haven't heard a peep from Bungie about a conditional finality nerf or how they're looking to address the current dominance of shotguns in general. And I'm not asking for a shotgun nerf. I think we just need to see all of the other specials adjusted to be more viable in their intended ranges. But conditional finality, nerf that shit. Give it the Lord of Wolves treatment at this point. I don't care. Rework it, whatever you have to do. It can't be doing the same shit it's been doing for the last year. I don't know, man. Maybe Bungie wants to stabilize the ammo economy before making those decisions, but I'd argue it's blatantly obvious to see that conditional is overperforming. And while we're on the topic of ammo economies, I don't understand why we need to have as much heavy ammo as we do in 6v6. The first heavy spawn is like a minute into the match, and then it continues to drop so often for the rest of the game, it feels like there's always someone in possession of it until the game is over. It's not as bad in competitive, but there's still too much of it. It should be a much more similar system to Trials where there's one big moment where heavy drops, there's a big play, it matters, and then it's not something you have to worry about for the rest of the game. It should also be much more clearly communicated in the UI when the enemy team picks up heavy. Nothing is more frustrating than being in a good, close gunfight only to be absolutely blindsided by somebody with a heavy GL without ever knowing that it was picked up in the first place. Burying the notification in the kill feed is a bad design. It should be somewhere near the crosshair or just somewhere more obvious. At the end of the day, I hope Bungie figures out these ammo problems quickly, because ultimately, they're a small piece of the pie that is broken, problematic systems in PvP. We still have a really big issue with matchmaking, lobby balancing, network connections, hit registration, weapon choice, and abilities and supers balancing. Oh, and they're adding this thing called Prismatic where you can combine like all the subclasses in the game together. And oh yeah, exotic class items too. That's coming in a couple of weeks. I'm sure that will go over smoothly. And I'm sure it won't complicate the sandbox at all. No way. You know, while it's frustrating to see how all over the place Bungie has been with these changes, at least the feedback is being addressed. We've seen more PvP updates in the last 2 months than the last 2 years. And it has me feeling more confident that Bungie is for once interested in taking care of a core player base that has been ignored and underserved for far too long. I'm still of the opinion that the best days in the Crucible and Trials are ahead of us. that the experience will continue to improve, and that there's plenty more fun to be had. And honestly, I'm super excited about the new prismatic subclass, the exotic class items. I'm very, very, very interested in seeing what you can do with them in PvP. I'm just maybe a little bit bitter about the fact that it's going to break some stuff, and it's going to make things go a bit crazy for a couple of months, but hopefully Bungie's keeping a close eye on it and they can rebalance and retune more quickly this time, and maybe not wait months and months to make some changes. If you've made it this far, thank you. I know this video was a lot to take in, but I hope you found some value in it. I cannot thank you enough for watching. Please let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below, how you think Bungie should solve the special ammo problem. Do you think it's even solvable? I don't know, maybe you're thinking of something that I didn't consider. I really think PvP will continue to improve, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Until next time.